Friends, family, and survivors. Looks like I have a case and a half of Golden Delicious Pumpkin Puree. Now that ought to make some nice pies. That's from the Oregon Food Bank. And they just, the stuff that's close to the pull date, they pull it and they give it to the churches. And the churches go out and they give it to the poor. And sometimes knocking door to door. Especially during the Christmas season. Look at all those sweet potatoes. Those are all sweet potatoes. And we've got some pears for their pigs and some turnips. Well, that's a happy thing. Especially this time of year when even people that are on what we used to call food stamps. I think here in Oregon there's an Oregon Trail card, and the wages are low and folks are trying to raise families, and it's just really, really hard to buy groceries and pay rent. So those times a year, you take whatever spare this time of year, you take what spare you do have to buy, Christmas gifts for your kids and stuff. And oftentimes, the working poor, they run short. And that's where the food bank comes in. It's a Christian ministry that distributes to all the churches, and then the churches make sure it gets in the hands of the poor, the needy, the elderly, and so forth. And then there's meal programs and all that kind of stuff too. So I got another good jag of food to take out to the camp tomorrow night. But this video is about solar. So the thing that's getting me this year is there's way more sunlight than there's supposed to be. And I check the weather pattern and the forecast and look at the satellites diligently. And the tricky part where we live is guessing when the fog will burn off. Now this year, the fog has been burning off about noon. And that's very strange. Usually the fog burns off at 3 o'clock. Well, I made a short video, but I don't think I posted it about, the fog actually burned off when it was supposed to, right at 3 o'clock. And I made a video of it catching an hour and 2 minutes of sunlight before the sun went down, which is normal. But today, it's probably 10:30, 11 o'clock right now, and it looks like it's getting thin. And I think it's actually going to burn off. Now, we're in between storms. We just had one come through, another one's coming through, and each week the snow level gets lower and lower. But this fog has been burning off. So if the thing is, I've been running my generator anyway because it looked like it was supposed to be foggy all day, socked in. And so I run my generator the amount that I usually do. And then it's sunny all afternoon and I burn fuel for nothing. Kind of tired of doing that. That's dumb, isn't it? The other thing that's happening is I'm up at the shop and I'm too busy to come down here and turn the generator off. I guess I could call Carol and say, hey, would you run out and turn the Jenny off? But I just don't think about it. I'm engaged in what I'm working on, or I'm on the phone with somebody and I don't think about it. And I end up running the generator longer than I need to by quite a bit. I'll bet by 50% right now. And my fuel numbers represent that. And the fuel cost this year was higher when I did buy fuel. I've been typically getting it for $1.90 for off-road diesel. This year we paid $2.60, so that's significantly different. So at this juncture, usually I look at the stats at the solstice. This is the 10th of December. Usually I look at it on the 21st. That's our midpoint of our generator season. And I usually look at it there to make my calculations. But this year I can see that I've burned 12.5 gallons of diesel since our winter started, since our dark gray skies started. And really that's more diesel than probably twice as much as what I actually needed to burn. So $32.50, somewhere around there for the year, which tells me if this was the 21st, I'd know I'm exactly at the midpoint. I'd be looking at $64, $65 for the whole year in fuel costs. And that's double what it's been in the past. I'm going, well, why is it double? Well, one thing, fuel went from $1.90 to $2.60, and the other thing is I've been lazy and not getting out and turning the generator off in time. Shame on me. So it's not killing us, $65 for the whole year. But there's another hidden cost for our type of batteries. And in my opinion, the flooded lead acid in the L16 configuration and then up into the 5000 series, they take more abuse than any other battery will take. They'll take more abuse by far than the AGMs. I don't know about the nanocarbons. I hear nanocarbons can take a lot of abuse, but the flooded lead acids, they'll take a lot of abuse. If you overheat an AGM, you're in trouble right away. Well, you could just overheat a flooded lead acid for a long time and you're just gassing and losing water. Of course, if you let it heat up long enough to warp plates and shed material, that's different. That's not what I'm talking about. The flooded lead acid takes water, and I water my batteries every 40 days, and it takes 1.5 gallons of distilled water. And here at our local store, it's about $1.50 a gallon. But if I drive to the big city where we do most of our shopping, I can get distilled water for 88 cents a gallon. So I have to add into the figures 1.5 gallons of distilled water a month, actually 40 days, at 88 cents a gallon, and that is a factor. But you know what? That's not killing us either. So putting in the distilled water and burning diesel, you add it all up. And my total fuel bill this year, my total electricity bill this year is going to be, you know, let me add it up real quick. Okay, that comes in this year, it calculates out to about $80 for the whole year for electricity. And I think that's just really good. Could I improve on it? Absolutely, I can improve on it. In fact, I'm convinced that if I move the solar arrays to a better sunlight area, and I stop being lazy with my generator times, that's an issue. The other thing is someday more efficient batteries. Man, who doesn't want to go with lithium? I'm just watching the prices, and when I can get some Nissan Leaf batteries cheap enough, I'm jumping on it. But the other thing is I have parasitic loads, and I'm lazy about them. And let me explain them to you. The gate, electric gate, it takes 18 watts, 24 hours a day. It's 18 watts to maintain that gate. The charger, fence charger is on at the barn. It's on 8 hours a day. There's a battery charger, battery tender on the tractor at the barn. It's on, and depending on what it's doing, it's taking anywhere from 6 watts to 30 watts to do its thing. It's on all the time. Up in the office, there's a tower computer that's on. I mean, it goes into sleep mode, but it's taken 18 watts anyway, 20 watts sitting there doing nothing. The Wi-Fi is on. That's 15 watts. The internet is on, the internet transmit receive antenna. That's 20 watts. I have a Blu-ray player and the memory on the TV and the memory on the stereo system, the memory on the CD player. I don't unplug any of that stuff. Those parasitic loads probably take another 15 watts. There's a CPAP machine upstairs. It's always plugged in. I used to unplug it. I don't bother. I don't want to bend over and unplug it. So I just leave it plugged in. And then if you look at the laptop chargers, the cell phone chargers, and those sort of things, there's parasitic loads all over. I have a night light on. It's 3 watts. It's LED. It's in my master bathroom. I just leave it on. Who cares? You know, it's not a big deal. And then we keep this thing charged, and it has its own onboard 4-stage battery charger. And so I'm just kind of lazy about the parasitic loads. And my wife's beauty salon, let's see, right over there, that thing's got a dehumidifier. It's 18 watts, runs all the time. So with all of that going on, it still looks like our total fuel costs, or electricity costs for the year, are $80 or under, and my diesel fuel costs this year are going to come in about $65. Where the last few years my diesel costs have been about $35, and a part of that is I run the generator longer than I have to, and the diesel fuel costs were up from $1.90 to $60. There, so there you have it. That's a almost mid-solstice or midwinter, close to the winter solstice diesel fuel review. And I know you wanted to know that. And Gibbs is so patient with me. He says, she's talking to that stupid black box again. Well, he doesn't know all my friends are in here. So anyway, have a blessed day.